at one point we had to go back on ourselves because someone actually was completely submerged in the swamp.
All right, y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Okay, so today we're checking out something from Forces News. Now, again, I think they used to be Forces TV, but we've checked out some stuff from them previously, and it's always some solid content. So today we're checking out British troops in the USA on Exercise Rattlesnake. Now, I'm not familiar with the Exercise Rattlesnake, but I can tell by the video underneath it, it said Fort Polk, Louisiana. So I imagine they're doing something like the JRTC, the Joint Readiness Training Center there. So they're probably doing a rotation through there. So if you guys don't know, I was stationed at Fort Polk for a few years, so I'm probably going to recognize a lot of the stuff in this video. Now, I'm not exactly sure which unit it is, but you'll see it all the time where all these foreign units will come and train at Fort Polk, because it is like one of the Army's biggest training areas. But yeah, let's get into the video. Check it out.
It's extremely grueling.
Yeah.
We always say that we stretch you to the point where we can see all your holes.
We're talking about a training exercise, right? He probably didn't mean for it to sound like that, but maybe that's just my Marine brain talking or something, but that's funny. Oh, man. I've never heard it called Exercise Rattlesnake,
Joint Readiness
though.
Training Center rotation is like a cricket bat in the face over and over again.
Cricket, that was like the one British thing he could think about, I guess.
What's up, bro?
Nice. Hell yeah. It's some good training.
I'm Sian
Okay,
Greystoke,
nice.
and I'm joining the Welsh Cavalry as they spend 12 days in what's known as the Box, a feared training area that's been used to test troops to their limits for decades.
We trained soldiers before World War II, we trained soldiers before the Vietnam conflict, we trained soldiers before the deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq, and now we're preparing them for future battlefields.
Yeah, so generally speaking, with the U.S. Army, if you're going on a deployment, you usually go through like an NTC or a JRTC rotation. So you'll have a lot of units cycle through this. And again, you do have a lot of foreign people or a lot of foreign militaries come and train there as well. So I'm not sure if these guys are doing like a full month-long rotation or if they're doing something a little bit shorter. But okay, so we have the Welsh Cavalry. I don't really know a whole lot about those guys.
Fort Polk in Louisiana is one of 3 elite US Army training centers in the world. It's known as the Joint Readiness Training Center. Once inside the most feared arch in America, soldiers face 12 days of tests as they practice for war.
Very, very familiar.
Good afternoon, my name is Sergeant First Class Angel.
But before they enter, there are a few things they need to know, not about the enemy. It's the environment that could be a bigger threat.
Poison ivy, poison oak, and poison sumac
Yes,
are not
very,
coming back
very
out.
true.
Being it's the springtime, so try to avoid getting that stuff on your hands and then rubbing your face. Heavy rains and tornadoes. Pigs, we've had a lot of pig encounters, so wild boar. There are 6 extremely poisonous snakes in this area. And the cottonmouth likes to chase soldiers.
Okay, more than likely it's the soldiers that like to mess with the snakes, to be honest. But yeah, there were definitely a lot of wild boar. And it was funny because my infantry battalion at Fort Polk actually adopted that. So we were called the Wild Boar. And I don't know if that was like something that was there previously, but it's a very fitting name for a unit that's stationed at Fort Polk.
And that's not to mention the swamps.
Honestly, I loved it. It was like so awesome. It was like definitely my type of environment.
Oh, and how many training areas have signs like these?
I know exactly where that is.
It won't just be snakes and alligators they need to worry about. Their enemy is a highly trained local force, familiar with the terrain and used to winning in battle.
As usual, no prisoners. Questions?
I think we are considered the most hated unit in the United States Army.
How often do you win?
Very true.
I would say, how often do we lose? And that would be never.
Honestly, come on now. That's one of the reasons why people don't really like that unit so much. It's because, like, I mean, you can expect to be very good at what you're doing if that's all you do, because that unit is like literally there so they can be the opposing force. And they're very, very good at that. I will say that because they sort of know all the doctrine that's, you know, you're probably going to be using and all the tactics that you're probably going to be using. So they've seen it a million times. They have a bunch of units go through. So they haven't seen something for the first time at this point. It's pretty much just repetition for them. They know exactly what's about to happen. They see it as it's happening. They probably know it before it's happening. So they can counter it very, very easily. And it gets very frustrating, I'll say that.
Okay, so task order, namely changes.
The Welsh Cavalry, first the Queen's Dragoon Guards, have to integrate fast.
Tomorrow is our first action with the US unit. It's been a crazy week this week, okay? And there's been ups and downs, and they're not sure what to make of us like that. We go out there tomorrow, and we come back, and we show them the skills.
Interesting logo.
Going to blow their minds. And we need to perform these next couple of days.
Nice.
It begins. Half the battle group
Hell
will be
yeah.
inserted on Black Hawks. Many of them won't have been on a Black Hawk before.
No, none of them. I think there's 2 of us. Pretty much in the entire squadron, to be fair.
And what is it like?
Loud.
I don't agree with these. They don't agree with me, and I don't agree with them.
So you're not particularly looking forward to this training?
They fly a bit different to a UK helicopter.
The way we enter and exit is from the 3 o'clock
Yeah.
to the 9 o'clock. Don't go too far forward, don't go too far back.
All right, go ahead and come in.
Okay, so what they're sort of doing here is like dry runs. So before you actually do all the training and whatnot, you're basically just practicing. You're doing the rehearsals for getting on the aircraft and getting off the aircraft because you want to do it as quick as possible. But it's pretty clumsy. You end up just like grabbing everything that you can and running off the helicopter as soon as possible. So it's kind of funny, but yeah, this part is very, very dull. I'll say that. It gets pretty boring and tedious to have to do these dry runs like this.
They need training to arrive by air, so they've got to practice loading off and on Chinooks and Blackhawks.
So it's essentially just practicing what we need to do, so that the load plan is slick and everyone knows where they need to be and when, and then we're quick at getting off essentially when we're in a potentially hazardous environment at the other end.
If you hear start yelling egress, 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 it means there's an emergency, you guys need to get out of the aircraft.
I like how they're showing a lot of the, like, not as sexy stuff.
It's nice working with the American guys because we're very similar. I think a lot of the young lads are realising how similar the Americans are to us.
Yeah.
Languages are different. So just the way they talk about things, that's it.
You guys say things really, really weird in the UK, I'll say
when
that.
When you're coming off, I want to make sure you go out to 6 o'clock being the most desirable, 3, 9, 12 being least desirable due to low drooping rotors.
3, 2, 1, 6 inches. Yeah, let's go.
I've never even seen that, to be honest. Oh, they got the Chinook though. They got the good deal.
Showtime.
Right now, thousands of soldiers are preparing to enter the box, and you really get a sense as to just how big the scale of this exercise is. The Welsh Cavalry will be joining them, are about to get on the Black Hawks right behind me.
Yeah, so that was exactly what I was about to say. Like, these exercises are really, really massive. And again, this is like one of the biggest training areas that the U.S. Army has. So a lot of times you have like these huge exercises. For us, normally we do like a battalion size, but I mean, for me as a recon element, when I was doing the recce stuff, we would insert a little bit early and we would like, you know, secure the landing zone for the Chinooks. And you can really get a good sense of how many people are actually, you know, going onto the battlefield when you're there for like 2 hours and you have these Chinooks constantly going back and forth, dropping off people.
Okay, you guys are going to be on the 4th aircraft on the runway. So 1, 2.
Oh yeah, this is the fun part.
We've got to make sure that we can all get on within 2 minutes and then get off within 30 seconds.
Yeah, this is the fun part. Doing the whole insert and everything. You feel so badass when you do it. Oh, I didn't even show it landing. That's lame.
It's the first time they've seen the ground here. Everything is new. and we landed hours later than originally planned.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
With many carrying more than 50 kilograms on their backs, they'll spend the next 12 days inside the box.
So work in it now and then push off. So give me 2 seconds once they're on position.
We now have to set off.
I mean, I like the initial thing that he did, but I don't know about that second hand and arm signal he gave. Okay, so they're doing 12 days. I don't know how long we were in the box itself, but I think it's probably around 12 days. It's like a month-long rotation, but you do have some stuff before you go in and after you go in. So it's probably about the same. So yeah, I think after about 10 days, you're pretty much fed up with everything because everything just gets muddy, everything gets wet and just it's completely soiled, and it's just a nightmare. So yeah, you know they're definitely feeling it at this point already.
With the recce platoon on a 15-kilometer mission to conduct long-range reconnaissance and surveillance on the enemy and report back vital intelligence.
4-5,
yeah,
4-5-5.
It's my kind of unit.
We have to turn the cameras off so as not to give away our position. But we're not going to sleep. We have to walk all night wearing night vision goggles.
Yeah.
The environment and the spiders and the poison ivy and the snakes is at the forefront of my mind.
Should be an interesting night. What's that behind you?
Yeah, so if you guys have never seen the sort of spiders you can see in Louisiana, there's just one spider. It's called a golden silk orb weaver. People normally just call it a banana spider, but they're about that big. I'll post a picture up right here. But yeah, they get pretty massive. Their webs are really, really thick and almost like golden. So when you walk into it, it like really stops you. So you just end up walking through all these massive spiders. You end up like kicking snakes sometimes. And then the puddles are pretty crazy. You'll have people like legit get stuck in the water and in the swamps that they have there. Oh man, they can't see anything either. There's no illumination, especially with all the brush and foliage.
Got an hour?
I know it sounds really strange, but it's actually really nice to wake up and actually be able to see the terrain and see the ground, because what was quite disorientating
I know that feeling.
throughout the night, looking through the night vision goggles, is that, you know, it's very uneven ground. We crossed swamps. At one point we had to go back on ourselves because someone actually was completely submerged in the swamp.
Yes. Lots of unmarked waterways, seasonal waterways as they call them on the maps. Most of them aren't marked. They often look quite shallow, and one of the corporals unfortunately went crossing the wrong spot and went head under at 2 a.m. in the morning, which wasn't so fun.
Oh, you know he's having a great time now.
Where we had to hide from the enemy, who were literally just meters away from us, and thankfully they didn't discover us. But yeah, it's just giving me a real sense as to what it's like being out on the ground on a live exercise where you can get lost and anything can happen.
The last 24 hours was definitely sleep debt, but it becomes part of the job.
Yeah,
so
that'll happen.
Sleep debt. Frustrating. Everything is like twigs and branches that just seem to find every gap in your glasses.
Yeah, so that's pretty funny. So I don't know if my platoon was just like unlucky or something, but with the recce platoon, in like a period of like a few months, we had a couple of guys just get completely knocked out of commission because even though they were wearing like eye protection and whatnot, there was this random stick that would just find its way in and just like pretty badly mess up their eye. Like there was a lot of times where we'd do like a short halt and we'd like go and check the maps, and there'd be times where like a buddy would smack a branch or something right as I'm taking off my eye protection and it just smacks me in the eye. Luckily it wasn't as bad as the other guys, but yeah, it gets super frustrating.
They're quite funny. Yeah, and then the ground, it's super dry, but then the minute you lie on that ground, it just, you sink into it. It's like a sponge.
Yeah.
And, every 15 minutes you got to move. So it's kind of lucky we didn't sleep, because if I had my sleeping bag out and I had a couple of hours sleep, I would probably been swimming.
Well, I think the guys will learn some lesson about heat, carriage of kit. And I just think some of those really low-level skills to keep themselves administered in the field. People's feet will be getting wet and then getting hot
People will be carrying lots of kit. Water consumption has been a really big one for us. So all those low-level basic skills that form the foundation of any operational deployment will definitely thrash out here, and the guys will be much better off for it.
So how do the Americans rate the performance of the Welsh cavalry so far?
Well, what I watched them do is show just mastery of the fundamentals. We had a long-range reconnaissance mission that they walked through some of the worst terrain we have here in Fort Polk. They got into a position of relative advantage. They were able to observe the terrain. They were able to render phenomenal, accurate reporting about what the enemy was doing. And then they passed the wild boars, 230 infantry, into the fight. It was masterfully
Oh, snap.
done.
Okay. Yeah, so like I said early in the video, I was part of the wild boar battalion, so 230 infantry. And that's kind of cool. I wonder if they might have actually worked with my recon platoon. I think I still know a few guys that are on the recon platoon because, again, I left a couple of years ago. So I think I still know a few guys that are there, which is kind of funny to think that they might have actually worked with these guys doing their reconnaissance together and doing like that recon handoff.
There's 2 weeks of tests to go, and this is the man behind them.
It's extremely grueling. We always say that we stretch you to the point where we can see all your holes.
There it is.
So every rotation pushes a brigade to the point of really exposing what all their weaknesses are.
Next time, in the heat of battle, see just how difficult the enemy is making life for the troops on exercise Rattlesnake, and take a look at the Special Forces vehicles on loan to the Welsh Cavalry. Sian Grezchek, Forces News,
Lucky guys.
Fort Polk, Louisiana.
Nice.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.
Yep, you guys already know I am subscribed. What the heck? Okay. I don't know what has been happening, but for some reason when I'm checking some of these channels out, I'm not subscribed to them. And I don't know what is happening, but I was definitely subscribed to Forces TV. I know it's Forces News now, but I was definitely subscribed to them. So it's kind of weird. So make sure you guys check down below to see if you guys are still subscribed. Because I don't know, maybe YouTube is just being weird or something. But again, this was a very, very solid video. It's just cool to see, like, it's kind of cool to see my old duty station. And, you know, see the training areas that I've been in multiple times. But it's also cool to see it from the British perspective. How they actually view the training. And how they actually view the environment. Because again, Fort Polk is like, it's unlike anything you've ever seen. Even if you're like from the South, it's just, it has like everything, like all the worst stuff just put into one training area. And for some reason, the weather is like always like super inconvenient for whatever you're doing. So I don't know, it's just cool to see, and it's cool to see from their perspective especially. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have been to Fort Polk, Louisiana, whether it be on the US side or any other side, let me know how it was. Let me know how you guys liked it or disliked it down in the comments section. I think that'd be pretty funny to hear about. You hear some pretty crazy stories from people who spend some time at Fort Polk. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of miss it, to be honest. It's kind of like a love-hate relationship. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. That is it for this video. So I'll see y'all in the next one.